there's a whole bunch of different species of fish that are available for you to put in your home aquarium. But what if you want one that's more chill and laid back? An aquarium whose fish you don't have to worry about being super aggressive or harassing each other. Well, if you are looking for a list of chill fish, then you have come to the right spot. Hi there, I'm Hilary for Waterlogged on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. In this video, I have a list of 11 different species. Most of the fish on this list are really chill, laid-back fish. They are what you would consider community fish. They're gonna get along well with most everybody that is considered a community fish. There are a few exceptions, and I'll try and touch on those as I go through this list. But one thing I do want to remind you of before I get started is that it is so critical that you always do your research and know what the compatibility of your fish and invertebrates are before you ever add anything to the tank. You would hate to plan for a dream fish only to find out that you've added fish along the way that aren't going to get along. So always do your research before you buy. Enough of the disclaimers, let's go ahead and get started with my list of fish. Now, the first type of fish that you could add to your tank would be a cardinal fish. Cardinal fish are great fish for community tanks. You can have one or you can have a whole bunch of them. Whichever you decide, they are going to be great options for chill, laid-back fish. And if you do a good job taking care of them, you might even see them reproduce in your tank. Now, one cool thing about these guys is that when they do reproduce, they are mouth brooders, which means they're going to keep their young inside their mouth to protect them. And if you get to see that, it's a pretty cool thing. So definitely something to keep in mind. Okay, the second type of fish on my list is a firefish. These guys are such peaceful fish and they have a lot of color. One thing that I should let you know about with them is that they can be jumpers, so you definitely want to make sure that you have a lid on top of your tank to prevent them from jumping out if they get spooked. The third group of fish on my list are Blennies. Now, depending on what type of Blenny that you want, you have a couple of different options. No matter what way you go, though, these guys have a bunch of personality and they are really calm fish. Most of the time, they are seen hanging out in little holes within the rockwork, but you might even be able to get some like the lawnmower Blenny that will help you to take care of algae in your tank. Who doesn't want a little bit of extra help there? The next group of fish that are on my list today are fairy wrasses. Now, I adore fairy wrasses because of the vast array of colors that you can find them in. They are really just beautiful fish. And if you are interested in fairy wrasses, you're not just limited to keeping one. Sometimes when you go to search for them, you can even find pairs of fairy wrasses, which is pretty special in and of itself. If you are lucky enough, you can get a pair and watch some of their mating dances. It's really pretty special to see in your tank. Now, this is another fish that would benefit from having a lid on the tank. Just because they can get spooked and jump, you don't want to lose a beautiful fish, or any fish for that matter. So consider that if you are looking into fairy wrasses. Another wrasse on my list that I feel like doesn't get enough credit is the Harlequin Tusk. These are beautiful fish. When you see them as babies, their patterns are a little bit different, but they still have all of the same colors that you are going to see out of them as an adult. Now, despite the fact that these guys get fairly big, they are a beautiful fish that is really peaceful and laid back as far as some of the larger species of fish go. So if you have a big tank, maybe consider getting a Harlequin Tusk. Just make sure to do your research because some fish species like this may go after some of your invertebrates, making them not necessarily reef safe. Now, the sixth group of fish that are on my list are Antheus. Now, you got a couple of different species to pick from as far as Antheus are concerned, but no matter which way you go, you're going to get a very colorful fish that is really peaceful and will get along well as an individual, or you could have a whole group of them. So if you're looking to add a bunch of fish to your tank and you want a lot of color, maybe consider going for some Antheus. Now the next one on my list today is a seahorse. These guys are very chill and laid back, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend them for a community tank. These guys are a species only tank, which means you could have a couple of seahorses in an individual tank, but I wouldn't pair them with a bunch of different species like you might see in a mixed reef. If you are looking for a slow-moving, laid-back species, then maybe seahorses are for you. One thing I would advise you on is that they do require a bit of maintenance because they're such slow eaters. They tend to make a mess, so you might need a little bit more maintenance with keeping seahorses than you would, say, with other species, so just keep that in mind if that's what you're going for. Alright, the next fish that is on my list today is one that you would commonly see in a reef tank, and that is a mandarin. I do love mandarins because one, they're captive bred, which means it's not as tricky to get them to eat as it used to be back in the old days. A lot of times because they're captive bred, they'll go ahead and eat pellets and you are going to be a lot more successful in keeping them. But beyond the ease of keeping them and getting them fed, I really just think they're a fun fish to watch. They have a lot of bright colors and details if you look at them close, so it's always fun to have a mandarin in the tank. Now they're gonna mind their own business. You might not even see them all the time, but it is something fun to play Where's Waldo or Where's the Mandarin, if you will, in your tank. Now we are moving right along through this list of fish. The next one I've got for you is a marine betta. These guys have beautiful flowing fins, not quite like you would see on the freshwater betta fish, but more so than you see in your average saltwater fish. Now, these guys are very laid back, very calm and peaceful species, so definitely make sure that you are giving them a calm environment to live in. The 10th species on my list today are Filefish. I love them for their personality. Their eyes just seem to follow you wherever you go. They're very curious and inquisitive, but they're also really peaceful. They get along with most other fish in your tank, and depending on which species you get, you might get the added benefit of them helping to remove pesky aptasia from your tank. The last species on my list are butterfly fish. Now this isn't one that I always get to include on lists, but as far as peaceful fish go, I would definitely rank butterflies up there. Keep in mind though that they can be a little bit picky when it comes to getting them to eat, and sometimes they have health issues, but if you're willing to work around those things and put in the extra effort, it might be a great option for your tank. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, please make sure to do your research. Not all the fish on this list are reef safe. Some of them will actually eat invertebrates, so that's why it's really important to do your research before you purchase and add fish, coral, any invertebrates to your tank. I'm curious, before I let you go, have I included your favorite fish in my list of chill fish for a fish tank? If so, let me know. Leave a comment, tell me what your favorite reef safe and non-reef safe chill laid-back fish is. Alright, this has been Hilary for Waterlogged on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.